Hey everyone, welcome to another Lowland Kids Sew Along. Today we will be making the pocket shorties. This is one of Lowland Kids' newest patterns. We are using 2-inch elastic today, and I have already all my pieces cut out here. I just wanted to show you how I cut out my waistband per the instructions. I'm doing the casing version, so since I am doing the casing version, I have to add about ½ inch length to the actual pattern piece, as I'm doing right over here, and I'm just cutting everything along my projector lines. And we're going to be starting off by adding our pockets, and we're going to put our pocket pieces right sides to right sides right in the front, and we're going to serge around the curve. After we do that, we are going to flip our pocket piece towards the back side, and we're going to have to top stitch around that curve right there. I'm using my cover stitch machine, but you can use, I believe, a stretch stitch or a zigzag stitch, or your twin needle if you prefer that as well. And we're going to do this to both front pieces, to the left and right side of the pockets. You see me doing that to the second part right here, and I'm just speeding it up to go as fast as I can. After we do our pocket front piece, it should look something like this on the back, and it's time for us to add our back pieces. And to add our back pieces, we're just gonna line up the curves, match up the curves, and make sure your right side of your fabric is facing the back, like the back side, and you're gonna serge around the curved part just like this. And we're gonna do the same thing to our other piece. And I'm sorry that if it's pretty loud, my kids are in the background, so they can get pretty loud. And after we do that, our pocket should look like that. We are going to put our two front pieces together, and we're gonna serge them together right in the middle seam, just like that. After we do that, our whole front piece should look like this, and we're gonna do the same thing to our back piece. We're gonna serge or sew the middle back seam. And we're gonna put our front and back pieces together now to close off the shorties bodice, kind of. I like to pin on the sides where the pocket is just to keep things together, and I like to pin or clip at the top as well to keep things more together and organized for me, so it's not shifting around. And so we're gonna align our seams in the middle, and we're gonna serge down the left and the right side, making sure you catch all the layers on, including the pockets. And we're gonna take that to our serger and serge that down. After we are done serging everything, it should look like this, and it is time for us to add our cuffs. And when we're adding our cuffs, you might catch yourself catching onto the serging around the pocket as well, like catching the inner pocket, but that is totally okay. The pockets are small, so you will most likely catch the pocket piece. And I like to flip my shorties wrong side out and to put in my cuffs, just because I have more control of what I can see on like this way, but you can do it however you prefer. And we're gonna just put on our cuffs, and after we're done doing our cuffs, see, this is what I mean by you will most likely catch the pockets. And we're gonna add our waistband, just align our seams on the back, and I quarter my waistband, and we're gonna serge all around, leaving about a 2-inch gap to thread in our elastic, and just serge all around. You shouldn't have to stretch, but you can just kind of fix everything as you go. It gets kind of tricky when it gets to the pocket parts because it is a bit thicker on that side, but that's why I like to clip things down first. And just go all around, remembering to leave that little 2-inch gap for your elastic. So now that we have our waistband, we are almost done. We're just gonna thread in our elastic. I just like to use just a safety pin and just thread it in like you would any casing, and just slowly like fix the elastic as you're going so that it doesn't get too scrunched up. It gets a bit tough when you get towards the pocket parts to pull the elastic, but just take it slow. I prefer this method instead of the other one. And then you're just gonna zigzag your elastic. I like to overlap it a little bit, and I zigzag with my regular sewing machine, and then I just kind of pull the elastic in, and it's gonna be time for us to close that little gap that we left. In order, to close my gap, I don't like to make the elastic on that part straight yet, because if I make the elastic straight, then I have a chance of catching the elastic, sewing the elastic when I'm serging. So I just kind of pinch it a bit and then serge it, and then fix the elastic and make it straight. And I just push it in a bit with my finger so that so it doesn't catch. And after we do that, we just fix it, pull it, make it even. I like to pull my elastic, I like to pull up on my fabric a bit, to just like I'm doing here, just so it's not as bunched up on the bottom. And you can leave it as is if you desire, but I like to top stitch just to secure everything. But it's your personal preference, it looks good either way. And I am top stitching with my cover stitch. I'm just using one needle because I noticed that if I use 2 needles, my cover stitch, my thread comes undone. So I like the look of just 1 needle when I'm top stitching elastic. And just take it slow and measure how far apart you want your threads, your stitching to be. And it should look something like this, and you are basically done. And I'm just adding the drawstring. You can decide where you want to place your drawstring. I like to place it where one of the stitches is, where the stitching is on the elastic on the waistband, just so it goes on evenly. And I just use a regular straight stitch at about 3, and I just stitch back and forth. And that is all it takes to make these shorties. We are basically done. If you have any questions, this is what it looks like when it's finished. It's a really nice, cute, nice pattern. It has those pocket options, and like I said, I prefer the casing method because it's just easier for me to do versus the sewn in elastic, because my elastic is kind of thick. So any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below.